From this description, it appears that the flower garland of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fresh. Actually, in Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky, there is nothing but freshness. Even the flowers picked from the trees and plants remain fresh. For everything in the spiritual sky retains its originality and does not fade. The fragrance of the flowers picked from the trees and made into garlands does not fade, for both the trees and the flowers are spiritual. When the flower is taken from the tree, it remains the same. It does not lose its aroma. The bees are always attracted to the flowers, whether they are on the garland or on the trees. The significance of spirituality is that everything is eternal and inexhaustible. Everything taken from everything remains everything. Or as has been stated, in the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 equals 1, and 1 plus 1 equals 1. The bees hum around the fresh flowers, and their sweet sound is enjoyed by the Lord. The Lord's bangles, necklace, crown, and anklets are all bedecked with invaluable jewels. Since the jewels and pearls are spiritual, there is no material calculation of their value. So we are seeing Lord Kapila describing the form of the Lord that the yogi should meditate upon. Mattadvirepa kalaya. The bees are intoxicated and they are humming around the garland. Paritam vanamalaya. And he is garlanded with a forest flowers. Vanamalaya. Parardhyahara valaya kiritangada nupuram. And he is wearing the hara, necklace, valaya, bracelets, kirita, crown, angada, armlets, nupura, anklets. All of them are parardhya, extremely valuable, priceless. And Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport, actually in Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky, there is nothing but freshness. In the material world, things fade, things wither, things age, things diminish, and finally vanish under the influence of Kala. But such deteriorating influence of Kala does not exist in the spiritual world. So everything is fresh and vibrant there. I remember when I was a young schoolboy, I used to wonder what job I will do when I grow up. I used to get very quickly bored with anything I take up. So I was always wondering, what will I do? If you think of one job, that becomes boring after some time. But actually, Srila Prabhupada has made Krishna consciousness so interesting to capture the conditioned souls and engage them in Krishna consciousness, in Krishna's service. This is actually the symptom, an attribute of a great Acharya. 'Acharya' Srila Prabhupada knew one gentleman right during 1944, when he had just started the Back to Godhead magazine, printing the Back to Godhead magazine in Delhi. His name was Hansraj Gupta. And he used to see Srila Prabhupada, an acquaintance, going around printing the books, distributing Back to Godhead magazines. And much later, when Srila Prabhupada created the ISKCON institution, and it had become a worldwide institution, Prabhupada once came to Delhi, and by then Hansraj Gupta had become the mayor of the city. So, as mayor of the city, he once arranged a nice reception for Srila Prabhupada, and a few other interactions happened. He came to Vrindavan also many times to meet Prabhupada. They were friends, very old friends. And so once Srila Prabhupada told Hansraj Gupta, he was become the mayor, and told him that I have seen one land. Can you please allot that to our institution? And Hansraj Gupta heard which place and all that, and then Prabhupada gave that description where it is. And then Hansraj said, oh, that land, now I know what you are referring to. That land is reserved for recreational purpose. And immediately Prabhupada said, yes, that's what I am saying. Our Krishna consciousness is recreational. It is not just religious, it is more than that. And then Hansraj sort of laughed and said, no, not that kind of recreation. I mean, he meant cinema and those kind of things. But Prabhupada said this way. And then he said, no, that is reserved for recreational and educational purposes. And immediately Prabhupada said, yes, that's what we mean. We are an educational institution. It's actually a very significant thing that Srila Prabhupada is saying in this. This is the symptom of a great Acharya. Krishna consciousness can be presented in any of these formats of human activity. Krishna consciousness can be presented as a recreational activity. It can be presented as an educational activity. It can be very much presented as a religious activity. It can be presented as a business activity. It can be in any philanthropic activity. Prabhupada once saw a devotees do a play, and he was so moved by that, so wonderful, so happy to see that play, Rukmini being kidnapped and all of that. And Prabhupada said, these plays are so good, there is no need of reading my books. You can just keep watching these plays. He encouraged the devotees like that. So, all of these activities can be dovetailed, and Krishna conscious touch can be added to it to help human society. Last year, we all know that how Srila Prabhupada wanted prasadam to be distributed from the temples. And he said no one in a 10-mile radius of a temple should go hungry. And based on that direction of Srila Prabhupada, by Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy, in the last 16 years, we are having this Akshay Patra program. Last year, we found Akshay Patra has become a 300 crore organization. And there is still lot of opportunities, so many governments are inviting us, so much more we can expand. Just that one instruction of Srila Prabhupada can be expanded, and you can create an organization, a millions of dollar and even a billions of dollar organization, taking Krishna's mercy to the conditioned soul. Like this, each of these different, Prabhupada has given hundreds and thousands of these kind of direction. Whether it's an educational, whether it is music, whether it is theater, whether it is filmmaking. Prabhupada said even politics. Because all of these are actually genuine activities in the human society. There is politics, there is recreation, there is education, and Krishna consciousness can permeate and touch the human society, the conditioned souls, through all of these kind of human activity. This is how Srila Prabhupada envisioned. It was not just as a religious framework alone. Krishna consciousness should permeate human society through varieties of activities that conditioned souls are naturally involved in. And that is how Srila Prabhupada wanted Krishna consciousness to be preached. This was the vision. Recreation? Yes, in a recreation format we can present Krishna consciousness. You say education? In an educational format Krishna consciousness can be presented. Business, politics, any of these things. And actually, if devotees work on any of them, each one of these instruction can be built into billion-dollar worldwide organization. It's no wonder actually Krishna consciousness can dominate the world through all of these activities. Such potential exists in Srila Prabhupada's direction. And Srila Prabhupada was doing all of this just to capture the conditioned souls and keep them engaged in Krishna's service. This is the beauty. This is the grand vision that Srila Prabhupada had. And so how to make Krishna consciousness interesting for the conditioned souls so that they become engaged, they become captured by that. They are continuously, whole life they are engaged in serving the Lord. And at the same time, they are benefiting themselves and they are benefiting others. This is the kind of a vision that Srila Prabhupada had. And Krishna's qualities are like that. Krishna's attributes are like that. Krishna consciousness can be dovetailed. And that way, we can be engaged and even conditioned souls with varieties of nature. I want this nature I have, that nature I have. All of such natures can be dovetailed in Krishna's service. And that's how Srila Prabhupada wanted Krishna consciousness to be presented. So, Krishna is ever fresh. Krishna's name, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's attributes, they are all ever fresh. And serving Him is ever fresh activity. As it is described here, everything. Actually in Vaikuntha or spiritual sky, there is nothing but freshness. Rupa Goswami describes freshness as Nitya Nutana, always new and fresh. He describes in the Nectar of Devotion, and Prabhupada writes, one of the qualities of Krishna, ever fresh. Krishna is always remembered and His name is always chanted by millions of devotees, but the devotees never become satiated. See, we chant Krishna's name, we remember Krishna, but we never get satiated. Continuing. Instead of becoming disinterested in thinking of Krishna and in chanting His holy name, the devotees get newer and newer impetus to continue the process. Therefore, Krishna is ever fresh. See the reasoning that Rupa Goswami is giving? That why he is considered as Nitya Nutana. Because devotees who chant and remember him get newer and newer impetus to continue the process. Not only Krishna himself, but also Krishna's knowledge is ever fresh. Bhagavad Gita, which was imparted 5,000 years ago, is still being read repeatedly by many, many men, and still new light is always being found in it. Therefore, Krishna and his name, fame, qualities, and everything in relationship with him is ever fresh. All the queens at Dwaraka were goddesses of fortune. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 11th chapter, verse number 33, that the goddesses of fortune are very fickle and restless. So no one can consistently captivate them. Thus one's luck will always change sometime. Yet the goddesses of fortune could not leave Krishna for even a moment when they were residing with him at Dwaraka. This means that Krishna's attraction is ever fresh. Even the goddesses of fortune cannot leave his company. Regarding Krishna's attractive features being ever fresh, there is a statement by Radharani in the Lalita Madhava in which Krishna is compared to the greatest sculptor, because he is expert in chiseling at the chastity of women. In other words, although chaste women may follow the rules and regulations of Vedic principles to become ever faithful to their husbands, Krishna is able to break their stone-like chastity with the chisel of his beauty. Most of the girlfriends of Krishna were married, but because Krishna was their friend before their marriages, they could not forget his attractive features, which were always fascinating to them even after their marriages. So like this, Krishna's attractiveness, Krishna's ever freshness is one of the qualities, and that is true, that is manifest in the spiritual world, in the Vaikuntha, and in his attributes, in his different decorations. And like we are seeing here, Mattha Dvirepa Kalaya. Mattha means become mad. These bees who are humming around his Paritam Vanamalaya, they have become mad. And Kalaya, Kala means a melodious sound. And that is why, and these bees are humming, they're very melodious, they're actually glorifying Krishna and his qualities. And the bees hum around the fresh flowers, and their sweet sound is enjoyed by the Lord. We know, Prabhupada says, actually Bhagavad Gita is so complete in its presentation. Bhagavad Gita is teaching us something, right? And Srila Prabhupada said Bhagavad Gita teaches us signs of God. And Krishna is the teacher and Arjuna is the student. And Prabhupada says that how to receive Bhagavad Gita is given in the Bhagavad Gita itself. And the example he gives is the medicine bottle and the label instruction. And one of the examples of the label instruction is that just like Arjuna is receiving the Bhagavad Gita, we have to follow in his footsteps. And then, if we follow in his footsteps, and then if we see that, yes, this is the spirit, and we also adopt that spirit, then we are in the right direction. We have to emulate and follow the way Arjuna has received this message. He is the perfect example of a student. And we as students of Bhagavad Gita, we should follow his footsteps. And so, how Arjuna was receiving this knowledge is described in the 10th chapter, and we will see this, and how this is connected to this ever freshness, ever attractiveness of Krishna's glories. Arjuna is saying, Vistarena atmano yogam vibhutim cha janardhana bhuyaha kataya truptirhi shrunvato nasti me mrutam. Vistarena atmano yogam vibhutim cha janardhana. Janardhana, O Janardhana, atmano yogam. Here the word yogam refers to his mystic opulence, his yogic opulence, mystical opulence. Atmano yogam, your mystic opulence, vibhutim cha, and your vibhuti, mystic power and opulences. His glories. Vibhutim cha. Vistarena. The extent of this. Vistarena. Atmano yogam. Vibhutim cha janardhana. Bhuya kataya truptirhi. Kataya. Please describe that. Again. Bhuya katayaha. Shrunvato nasti me truptirhi shrunvato nasti me mrutam. Your nectarian description of your vast yoga and vibhuti, O Janardhana. Shrunvato, to hear them. Truptihi me nasti. I am never satiated by that. Bhuya katayaha, amrutam katayaha, your nectarian description, shrunvataha, to hear them, trupti nasti, I am not at all satiated by that. Tell me again in detail, O Arjuna, O Janardhana, Krishna, of your mighty potencies and glories, for I never tire of hearing your ambrosial words. So, this is the eagerness that Arjuna is having to hear about Krishna. That is the spirit in which we must also be hearing the message of Krishna from the Gita and the Bhagavatam. There has to be a certain amount of eagerness. And that is so because Krishna's attributes and potencies are so wonderful. One never tires hearing them. If we are able to feel that way, then we are on the right path. We are in the footsteps of Arjuna. We are closely following the spirit of Arjuna. Then the right communication is happening. That is an indication. Prabhupada tells this. Once Prabhupada at that time was a grihastha, and his spiritual master had arranged Vrindavan Parikram, Braj Mandal Parikram, and he would arrange in a very elaborate way lot of tents, and they would camp there and go from one place to another place. And Srila Prabhupada at that time, he was involved in business and family. So he had just come for 2 days to come to Braj Mandal. And he knew that they were going on the Braj Mandal Parikram. So he wanted to join. And so at that time, the Parikram had come to a place called Kosi. Some of us you must have seen that place also. So Prabhupada reached there, and elaborate arrangements were there, tents were there, and he also got a place to stay. And then an announcement was made that everyone should get ready and move to the next place. We are going to start, like how in a parikram it happens. And then they also announced that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will be staying back. He will not come, and he will be speaking that evening on Bhagavatam. And those who wish to stay can stay back and hear, and all others can proceed to the next place. We are going to see a so-and-so Sheshasai temple, and all of us, everyone should get ready, and such announcement was made. And then Srila Prabhupada thought, he said that no, it's better than going to a temple. I stay back and hear from my spiritual master. So he didn't go. Most of the people went. There were only about 10-15 people stayed back. And some of them were sannyasis because they had other duties. And Prabhupada also stayed. And in the evening, in a small tent, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was speaking. A few of his disciples were there. And Prabhupada came and sat at the back. And he was eagerly, very, very enthusiastically hearing with rapt attention. And when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was speaking, he spoke with such conviction. He spoke with such boldness, describing Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam. He was describing, Prabhupada remembers that he was describing that Sambandha, Abhidheya, Prayojana, all of those kind of topics. And Prabhupada, hearing his guru speak, he was so happy. And 1 hour passed, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur kept talking. 2 hours, more than 2 hours he was speaking. And in between, some devotees paid their obeisance, went out because they had some service or something. Only a few were left, and Prabhupada was sitting there, rapt attention, hearing. He was awed by the way Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was speaking. This is how Srila Prabhupada was very good listener, and he would hear and relish. These are actually indications of great souls. It's not so easy to come to the point of appreciating and being captivated by Krishna's message. One has to be very, very fortunate. And Srila Prabhupada would hear Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur speaking, and he would just be so happy to hear Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, his Guru Maharaj talk. So, like this was see the spirit that Prabhupada was hearing. See the spirit Arjuna is hearing what Krishna is saying. And he is saying, Bhuya kathaya truptirhi shunvato nasti me mritam. Your descriptions are ambrosial. And I'm never satisfied. I want to hear more and more. See that alignment in that spirit of hearing. Actually, there is another place in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada mentions in this purport only, how the sages of Naimisharanya, they were hearing from Shaunaka, because Shaunaka was speaking Bhagavat Katha, and how they were hearing. They say, Vayam tuna vitrupyama uttama shloka vikrame yat shrunvatam rasagnanam swadu pade pade. Vayam tuna vitrupyama uttama shloka vikrame na vitrupyama. We are never satisfied. We are never satiated by your descriptions about Uttama Shloka Vikrame, about the great activities of Uttama Shloka, Krishna. Yat Shrunvatam, hearing, Rasagnanam. These are very important words, and Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu picks up all these kind of important words and what they mean. Rasagna, here it refers to those who are knowers of the truth about rasa. Rasagnanam, which means, just like we hear about the word tattvavit, means one who knows the truth. In the same way, rasagna means one who knows about rasa, about the Lord. What is the Lord's position? How does the Lord, what is the Lord doing in the spiritual world? What is His position? These are described in the Vedic literatures. Krishna is constantly engaged in exchanging rasas with His devotees. And there are 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas. And in all of these different rasa exchanges with the devotees, He is performing His pastimes. And those who know this truth about Krishna, they are called Rasagnanam. And such elevated devotees, Rasagnanams, they never, na vitrupyama, they never tire hearing about Krishna. Because they are relishing that rasa, that bhakti rasa. Swadu swadu pade pade. They are again and again relishing that. One can never be satiated, even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by Vedic hymns. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish in every step descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Thus, Arjuna is interested to hear about Krishna, specifically how He remains as the all-pervading Supreme Lord. So Arjuna was very eager to know, Krishna, how you are manifest even in this material world. Even in this world. That is why he's saying, Vistarena Atmano Yogam Vibhutim Cha Janardana. His Vibhuti, His yoga, Vistarena, in this material world, how He is present. I want to know. I want to hear more and more about that. Arjuna is saying. And that's how Krishna begins to say, I am the radiant in the radiance in the blazing sun. I am all the different things that Krishna describes. I am the taste in the water. I am the brilliant. I am the nakshatranam aham shashihi. Among the luminary night stars, I am the moon. Like that, Krishna is describing in the material world, whatever beautiful, splendorous thing that we see, we should know that it is a manifestation of Krishna. So all of these things can help us remember Krishna, because these are all Krishna's manifestations. And so Arjuna is very eager to hear. I want to know more and more about that. So that is the nature of Krishna, Nitya Nutana. That is the nature of spirit. In another place, Bhagavatam says, Navyavad hrudaye yagno brahmaitat brahmavadibihi. Brahmavadibihi, the knowers of Brahman, they have concluded that Brahman's nature is Navyavad Hrudaya. He constantly, anyone who understands Brahman, their heart will be ever fresh. That is the nature of Brahman. And Krishna is the Parabrahma. Param Brahma, Parandhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. So that is the nature of Krishna, and that is the nature of Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada, in order to present that all attractive, ever fresh Krishna to conditioned souls like us in the material world, he engaged and created activities according to our nature, which are dovetailed in the service of the Lord. That way, we get purified and we also can spread Krishna consciousness, because that's an important mission of the Lord in the material world. This is how Srila Prabhupada has designed all of these activities, because Krishna is ever fresh and ever attractive, and various varieties of activities created in serving the Lord also can become very fresh and very active, very interesting and attractive for the conditioned souls. And that is the nature of Krishna, and that is the nature of Krishna consciousness. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.